Hi guys. Psych. Hi guys, editing Melissa here. Really quick before I get into the video, I just want to make it clear that I'm not stating that a certain body size is ideal or perfect or better than the other. That's not what this is about. I just want to make sure you guys understand that this is just about my personal experience with body dysmorphia, and it has nothing to do with how I feel about anybody else's size or shape or anything like that. So anyway, carry on. Welcome back to my channel for another random video that has nothing to do with the video before it. At the end of my last video, I mentioned that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I wanted to do a video, some sort of topic regarding mental health, whether it be depression or therapy or something like that. And my original plan for this video was to talk about my experience with therapy, both in the past and in the present, both good and bad. And I probably will still do that video. However, I'm feeling a little bit different today, or even more so in the last couple of days. That made me change my mind about what I was going to film today. And I decided that I actually want to talk about my experience with BDD, which is body dysmorphic disorder. It's not something that I necessarily feel uncomfortable talking about. I would consider myself to have been fairly public with how I feel about my body and my issues with it over the years. The issues that I do have sometimes regarding this subject is it's definitely, and I'm not speaking for everybody, but it's definitely viewed as more of like a vain issue, a trivial issue, something that just doesn't matter that much, which bits and pieces of that I can understand. It really is kind of like there's so many other things going on in the world and in your life that the way your body looks and the way you look should really be the last thing on your radar. But at the end of the day, how you feel about yourself and your outward appearance definitely contributes to your mental health a lot. I've had a lifetime of experience. I'm not that old, but I still have most of my life that's been spent feeling this way and dealing with this on a daily basis. I don't want to call this as much of an advice video as I just want to call it I guess a resource. I don't know about any of you guys, but I definitely feel better hearing somebody else speak about something that I struggle with. It makes me feel like I'm less alone. It makes me feel more validated in how I'm feeling. It makes me feel less like I'm just being a crazy person about all of this stuff, that I'm not the only person that has these ridiculous, intrusive, just frustrating thoughts about my body and just everything else regarding my appearance in general. So I don't have a script for this or anything. I'm just gonna talk freely. I was first thinking that I was gonna do this in the style of a get ready with me, but I kind of feel a little bit better just sitting and sort of talking about it. I think I have some feelings that I'm feeling today that I need to get out, and I think I would feel a little bit better if I just kind of talked about it and hope that maybe it helps somebody else in the process, or maybe teaches some of you guys. My fiance, bless his heart, he's so patient and good with helping me through this stuff that he has no experience with whatsoever. Towards the beginning of our relationship, when I was going through a lot of things that he didn't understand, he would look up resources like videos of other people talking about it. So maybe if your girlfriend or your boyfriend is, you know, experiencing body dysmorphic disorder and really going through it, that maybe you can watch this and better understand someone explaining it to you so you can find some ways to help them cope or support them. So just to start off, I'll tell you why I changed my mind and decided to make this video instead of the other one today. I've been feeling like a sack of dog shit. Long story short, I have a girls' camping trip coming up this weekend. We go on it every year. It's so much fun. It's like kind of the kickoff to the summer. I know this year's summer is not going to be quite the same, but luckily there's only a few of us. Campsites are open in our state, and we're going to go on our camping trip this weekend, and I'm really excited about it. There's also some parts that I'm not super excited about, and those parts are the fact that I had expectations for what my body was going to look like by the time this camping trip happened. So I'm sure you're thinking, why is that something worth worrying about? You're around your friends, people you trust. You're just gonna be dirty and sweaty and just outside the whole weekend. Why is that something worth worrying about? That's a great question. The short answer is that it's not. It doesn't matter at all. And that's something that I understand. But at the same time, it's still something that I'm concerned with. I'm going to go through my timeline a little bit about kind of where all this started for me and where it's ended up with me now, but just as a short synopsis of where I'm at now, I eat a certain way. It's a way that some people don't agree with, and that's okay. I'm starting to question if it's the right choice for me too, but without really going into detail of what it is, I decided yesterday that I was really stressed and I said, screw it, I want a frickin' chicken burrito, okay? And the way I eat now, I can't really have stuff like that. But I said, screw it, I just wanted to cheat, whatever. So I ate the frickin' burrito. That burrito ruined my entire day. And not only did it ruin my entire day yesterday, it's bled right into today, into this morning. The second I woke up this morning, I didn't feel good about myself. I kept thinking about that stupid burrito I ate and how angry I was at myself that I ate that freaking dumb ass burrito. And it ruined like 2 days of my week. And the more I was thinking about it, the more I was just feeling like how frustrated I am with myself that I'm even worried so much about something that small that it just completely destroyed my mood, and how it's just making me feel like I'm worried now about going on this camping trip because I am going to be wearing shorts and a tank top and I'm going to be around my friends, and what are they going to think about me? Are they going to notice that I lost weight over the past couple months? Can you even tell that I lost weight over the past couple months? And just a million other things that came with that are like already consuming me, which tells me that I'm gonna have a hard time not letting it consume me while I'm on the trip. A trip I'm supposed to be enjoying and relaxing on and just having a good time. I'm already worried about it being ruined by just my own thoughts like that. And so that's kind of where I'm at with this week. And I'm trying to focus on some good things that I've done this past couple days, and I'm really trying to pump the brakes on my thought process right now so that way I'm not miserable all weekend. Before I go any further, I'll explain what body dysmorphic disorder is to anybody that doesn't know. I googled the actual description of it just so I don't misspeak. It's a condition in which a person is extremely anxious about an imagined physical defect or a minor defect that others often cannot see. People with this disorder see themselves as ugly and often avoid being seen by others, or they have plastic surgery to try and improve their appearance. So basically the short explanation as to what BDD is, to me, is the fact that I cannot believe what I see in a mirror. It can be as little as a day to an hour where I see myself completely differently here than I do right here. These two little versions of me that can be even an hour apart from each other can look completely different. Not only that, a lot of obsessive thoughts come with this too. Constantly thinking about what I'm eating, constantly thinking about what the food is that I'm eating, what's that currently doing to my body? Am I gaining weight? Am I losing weight? Am I staying the same? Do my arms look bigger today? Does my stomach look bigger today? Why do I look 5 pounds heavier today than I did yesterday? Why do I look 10 pounds heavier this week than I did last week? It's all those little things that just kind of take over your everyday life. I'm constantly checking the way that my stomach looks in the mirror, checking the way my arms look in the mirror. I'm sometimes questioning whether or not my collarbones are more visible than they were before. I'm constantly feeling like my face has gotten like rounder than it was the other day. Things like that people with my disorder deal with on not just a daily basis, but pretty much an hourly basis. It consumes a lot of time, which is unfortunate. And I can't speak for everybody, but when it comes to me, along with all of those thoughts are a little piece of rational thinking. I'm having these thoughts, you know, say that I had a few chips and I think all of a sudden that I completely stalled my weight loss and I just gained weight, or I gained pounds of water weight or something like that. I know in the back of my head, I'm telling myself that's not realistic. That's probably not true. You're probably overreacting. So I already know that those things that I'm telling myself are very likely not true, but the only problem is that those negative, untrue thoughts are way louder than the rational thoughts that I have. And that's kind of the best explanation I can give. I know some people have different experiences. My body dysmorphic disorder has led to some extreme disordered eating throughout my life. Sometimes that doesn't cause other people to go down that road. It kind of just depends on the person you are. I want to give a brief timeline on when this all started for me. I have some mixed feelings about this, but I think I'm going to do it just to give you guys an example of how delusional your thinking can really be. And I want to share some photos of me of times that I exclusively remember feeling large or feeling overweight that I look at now that I see in a completely different way. I think I'm going to do it just for the sake of a a good example of what this really does to you. So my issues with my body and my eating started pretty early. They started in elementary school, actually. I don't want to use too many labels in this, but I would consider myself a little chubbier than average. I was a pretty normal sized kid growing up, and I think once I started to kind of hit puberty in like fourth to fifth grade, I gained a little bit of weight. I was a little bit chubbier, I think, than some of my peers were. It's hard for me to kind of pinpoint where at that age I started to become hyper aware of what my body looked like, because I know up until that point it was never a concern of mine. It's hardly ever a concern when you're a kid that young in first, second, third grade. You're just focused on building relationships and learning and having friends and having fun, and all of a sudden you're just so hyper aware of your appearance. Sometimes that can be good, sometimes that can be bad. I mean, sometimes that's just the age when you start exploring different styles and dressing yourself differently and looking differently. But unfortunately, when I hit probably fourth or fifth grade is when I really started to realize that I didn't like the way that I looked. And that carried on past when I kind of lost that puberty weight, which I don't think I did anything on purpose to lose weight at that time. I think that my body was just changing and the weight kind of fell off, almost like it came on. But that being said, when I was younger, and honestly present day, I still do struggle with some, I don't want to call it binge eating because I don't think I have a binge eating disorder. I think that I have issues with overeating at one time. I think I just have issues with overeating and understanding when I'm full and when I need to stop eating, and I definitely started that when I was around that age too, which might have contributed to some of my weight gain at the time. And I remember at the time I started to skip lunches like fourth or fifth grade because I was uncomfortable with people seeing me eat. I think in school we had like those bench cafeteria tables or whatever, and I remember I would used to stare at what my thighs looked like sitting down, which, like, who doesn't have thick thighs when they're sitting down, honestly? And I would look at mine next to this other girl that was a lot thinner than I was, and I remember just using that as fuel to skip meals. It makes me really sad when I think about how young I was at that time, where I spent so much time not being a kid when I should have been spending time being a kid. Fast forward to middle school. Middle school I had a really rough time. I probably wasn't at my thinnest at the time, but I definitely wasn't the size I was in elementary school, but I struggled a lot with depression at that point, anxiety. I was homeschooled for a portion of the 2 years of middle school. Between that time that I was homeschooled and entered high school, I lost a ton of weight. This time, however, I lost the weight in a very unhealthy way. I definitely started restricting to an extreme amount, and I also experienced some trauma at that time, which I think really attributed to making this situation a lot worse for myself regarding my body. When high school rolled around, I was definitely at my lowest weight. This was probably one of the peak times where I definitely thought I was at my heaviest, when in reality it was the opposite. Unfortunately, high school is also the time where I started to edit my body in photos, and I was taking a lot of pictures at that time, and pretty much any photo that I took of myself that I had control over, I'm pretty sure I adjusted or manipulated in some shape or form. The only photos I could never do that to were the ones that I was tagged in by my friends or that I was in with my friends, because they would obviously know that I made changes to it and I would have been too embarrassed, so I just had to live with those, I guess. This is a video of me and a friend at the time. I did not look like what I thought I looked like at that time, and looking at that video still now just absolutely drives me nuts because I wish that I could have seen it the way that I see it now. Share several photos of me. Most of these are probably video stills or photos that my friends tagged me in that I never had a chance to unfortunately Photoshop. Thought I was fat. Thought I was fat. Thought I was fat. I spent probably most of my high school career comparing myself to other girls, constantly worrying about what I was eating. This is when my yo-yo dieting started, big time. I was always talking or always on some sort of diet all throughout high school. And I would do that over and over and over again, when in reality I just wasn't really eating that much in general. I developed an obsession with weighing myself. I weighed myself daily, which I don't recommend to anybody, even if you don't have issues with this, because I just don't think it's healthy for you mentally. Pretty much any best friend that I had growing up throughout high school and even sometimes after high school, I would always kind of develop a resentment towards them, which I hate saying out loud, but it's true, and I have to admit it to myself that I really started to resent some of my really close girlfriends because I was angry that they in my head were prettier than me or skinnier than me or had a better body than me. And that's just one more thing on that list of things that I was blessed enough to have, which was friendships and relationships that I had to put some sort of negative connotation to those memories with them. It's definitely hard to think about. It's hard to accept the fact that you let something as stupid as the way that you think other people perceive your body to ruin things like that and ruin memories. Man, all of the events and important days in my life that I specifically remember worrying about my weight the entire time. My high school graduation, 4th of July last year, birthday parties, camping trips, so many things that I just completely didn't focus on the right thing. That's just a really hard pill to swallow when you realize that you've just wasted so much time in your life concerned about something that no one even cares about. If you talk to any of your friends, let's say you had this really amazing vacation with a couple of friends, or you had this really amazing camping trip with your friends, and you sit down and ask them what their favorite part about it was, or what their favorite memories were about that trip with you, I can guarantee you, unless your friends are dicks, that no one is going to say, well, you looked so good and that just made my vacation so much better. No one is gonna say that no matter what you look like, because that's not what they were focused on. And I try and use that thought, kind of that rational thought that I have, that I know that they probably don't even remember what shirt I wore the whole weekend, as a way for me to convince myself that no, they don't care, and they're not going to care on the next trip, which is really what I'm telling myself for next weekend. None of those girls are gonna remember anything that I wear, what I look like, what my hair looks like, if my skin looks greasy. They're just not gonna think about that. Anyway, I'm getting off track with my timeline. I'm almost finished with that part. I know this is all over the place. But anyway, towards the end of high school, I gained a little bit of weight back, and I was definitely really insecure at that time, and I dropped it all really fast right after I graduated. This was also a peak time right after high school. I'd say like early 20s, where my anxiety and my depression were also at its peak, which had a lot to do with how bad my eating disorder was at that time. I dropped a lot of weight, I dropped it fast, and I still was not happy with the way I looked. This was the time period where my actions regarding my body definitely 100% affected my relationships with my friends, my family, and my boyfriend at the time, who's now my fiance actually, but it definitely caused a huge rift with all of those relationships that I had. And fast forward to a couple of years later, I definitely had my eating disorder under control, but I was still fluctuating in weight a lot. I was still overeating it sometimes, and then other times not eating at all, and the focus has still pretty much just been weight, my weight, 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 weight. That's all the focus has been that entire time. I clearly still have those issues. It's kind of hard to see improvement in something you can't physically see, because it's all a mental thing, and not only that, but you can't really get a lot of validation from others on how you're doing with it, because you could keep your thoughts in your head all day and not tell anybody. They would never know how much you're struggling with something. So it's something that you have to look inwards with yourself to really understand and see if you've made any progress with it. I feel like I have in a way, and in a way I have not. Like I said earlier in this video, I've been eating a specific way on and off for, it's probably been like 2 years now. It's the only thing that's, it's the only kind of way of eating that's helped me lose weight the way I want to without it being extreme or unhealthy, but at the same time it's kind of extreme because there's a lot of things that I can't really eat. So I'm definitely starting to question where I'm at with that, because obviously yesterday I completely spiraled after I ate something I wasn't supposed to eat. So I'm starting to wonder if it really is the best decision for me as far as eating goes. But at the same time, and I'm not self-diagnosing, I haven't been to a doctor in a really long time, but I'm pretty sure I have some food sensitivities that really affect my digestive system. So in a way, I still like eating that way because I don't feel sick or like bloated when I'm eating that way. But at the same time, as far as my body image goes and how I'm feeling, it's not the best when I have a bad day. When I'm having good days, I feel really good, but recently I've realized that the reason I feel so good eating that way is because I'm losing weight. And of course, me feeling good is directly correlated with me losing weight. My goal in life is I don't want those two things to equate to each other anymore. I don't want losing weight and being skinny and whatever to equal feeling good about myself. Me saying that I feel like I'm going to be dealing with some form of this for the rest of my life, I'm not sure if that's me being extreme or realistic. It's hard not to think that way when I've been feeling this way for 15 years probably. It's definitely hard for me to visualize an end to it. I think I'd like to say that I've progressed a little bit because I feel like I'm having more good days regarding how I feel about myself than I used to. I'm putting a lot more focus on what I bring to the table other than my appearance. And I know everyone likes to say when they're talking about this subject is, you know, say you pass away suddenly, your friends aren't gonna remember you for how you looked or how skinny you were or how big you were. They're gonna remember you for how you treated other people and how you treated them and the memories you made together and the way you lived your life. That's what people are gonna really remember you for. And as overdone as that sentiment is, it's 100% true. I can't think of a single person that I've lost in my life that I thought, you know, that's just too bad. They just looked great, or that's just too bad. They should have lost weight before they died. So, you know, I'll make a list sometimes. Like, what are the good things that I did this week? I helped a friend that was in need. I took some of my first commissions for embroidery, which is amazing that people like my art enough to pay money for it. Made some changes to my room and I'm trying to redecorate, and I bought some prints and I supported some, you know, small artists, some good conversations with my friends this week, and I had a little fire with my fiance for the first time this summer and had a really good night, and I didn't worry about my body that night, which was amazing. I'm really trying to focus on all the things that I'm bringing to the table and that I'm experiencing on a daily basis that kind of remind me that maybe this isn't all that's in my head all the time, even though it can really feel like that sometimes. I feel all the time that this completely runs my life and I can't escape it, but sometimes just some reflection can help you a little bit. I'm happy I'm making this video because the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm talking about the good things that I'm experiencing, and it's actually making me feel a little bit better. So maybe that would be a good thing for you guys to do, is to make a list of the good things that you bring to your friends and the world. Another good thing to do sometimes is to ask yourself certain questions. Like, let's say in some weird fantasy world that I had the option to have the perfect dream body that I've always wanted, which, let's be real, who even knows what that is anymore? Let's just say that I had this opportunity to have this dream body and look exactly how I wanted to, how I picture myself all the time, but I have to give up my abilities to do my hobbies. Would I give that up for a perfect body? No. Would I give up my closest friends if it meant that I could have a perfect body? No. Would I give up my fiance? No. Would I give up the maturity that I've acquired in the past 10 years? Would I give up the experiences that I've had, even if they were sometimes not that great in the last 10, 20 years? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't give up any of that stuff for a perfect body. You think about your answers, and I would hope that your answers would be no, because all of those things are so much more valuable than the way you look. But you have to think about that and think about, but am I giving those things up for a perfect body? In a way, sometimes I kind of was. I was giving up good memories and good experiences for the quest for a perfect body. Yeah, I gave up a lot of stuff. And my goal moving forward is to make less sacrifices that don't benefit me at all. When I say sacrifices, I mean like sacrificing my time and my mental health and my memories with people for shitty thoughts regarding my body and my appearance. I want to take this weekend and I want to have fun and grow as a person, just feel good. And I really, really hope that I can move past these crappy thoughts that I've had the last couple days and just do that. Just exist. Just exist in a different space with good people and not worry so much about stuff like that. I definitely have some decisions to make about my lifestyle as far as the way I eat goes. Adding more exercise into my life to not just lose weight, but to feel better about myself and feel healthier. I think that's another thing I really need to start focusing on, and just feeling healthier and feeling better. Nurturing the good parts of me. Working on projects and growing as an artist and as a friend and a fiance. I want to do all those things, and I don't want to take up any more of my time. This of course isn't a fix-all. I'm sure in a week or two I might feel this way again, maybe even sooner, and maybe I will struggle a little bit this weekend, but that's okay. I think it's important to talk through it, and I definitely feel better talking through it now, even though I'm completely alone in my room. I really encourage you to just look at yourself in a different way if you can. And hopefully you'll discover some bigger, better things than your weight or how big your boobs are or if your butt's flat or whatever. Everybody's built differently. Definitely go into more detail about my past experiences with it, but I didn't want to keep this too long. Just know that if you're struggling with this, You're not alone. If someone ever tells you that you're too looking this way or looking that way to feel a certain way, don't listen to them. I couldn't tell you how frustrating it is to get those comments sometimes where I try and, you know, open up and be honest about my issues with my body image, and for people to be like, how could you feel that way? You look like this, or whatever it is. Just know that that's not fair to you. Let's be honest with each other. The way you see yourself is never going to be the way that somebody else sees you. So it's just not fair for you to feel like you're like not allowed to dislike yourself or want to change something about yourself, because deep down I feel like every single human being on this planet has at least one thing they want to change about themselves. I know positive self-talk can be hard. It feels a little daunting sometimes. It feels kind of like it doesn't do anything, but I am gonna try a little bit harder. Hopefully you do too, if you're feeling the way I'm feeling right now. I just hope that you're staying safe and healthy, and you focus on your health and how you're feeling mentally, because those are all really important things that surpass the way that you look in the mirror every day. And yeah, I'm feeling better. Thanks, me. Like I've said a million times before, it's important to have open conversations about things like this, and to find other people to relate to or people to talk to about it, even if it's not somebody that's close to you in your life. Maybe it's somebody that you've never met before that might have some really good insight to how you're feeling. It might think similar things to you. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if it helped you, or, you know, tell me your experience if it's similar to mine, if you just want to complain about it for a little bit and how frustrating it is to feel this way. I am absolutely all ears. Please do. I hope you have a really good Memorial Day weekend, even though it might not be quite like the ones you've had in the past, but I think that we can all try and make the best of it and hopefully enjoy, fingers crossed, good weather. If not, we're still gonna have fun. So yeah, I feel really good right now. Thanks for watching. Bye.